Good afternoon, this is Peter Towers from ESS BIZTOOLS. Welcome to this webinar on introductory to ESS BIZTOOLS products and services. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are around Australia. So we'll get started. What we're going to discuss with you here today is what's contained within ESS BIZTOOLS and how this material can assist accountants to deliver business advisory services to their clients. The need for this wider range of services is very obvious from reading the Deloitte's report on digital disruption. Deloitte's are forecasting major changes to occur in a number of businesses over the next 3 years, which happens to include accountancy as part of professional services businesses. So accountants can either sit back and continue to do what they've always done, basically built around taxation, audit, superannuation, Australian securities requirements, annual returns, etc., or start embarking on a wider range of very exciting services that allows your accountants within your team to be able to say, we're now doing real accountants work. So that's the challenge, and where we see our role within ESS BIZTOOLS is to supply accountants with the tools to assist you to offer those services so that you don't have to go out and put the long hours into developing templates and systems to be able to offer some of these services. So we're going to go through and look at what's included in the products and tools, business advisory services, but also our newsletter, which we produce every month except January, client mentoring and coaching, which is material to assist you to educate your clients on the type of services that accountants can provide. One of the big problems in the last 30 years in Australia and New Zealand has been that accountants have concentrated on taxation, audits, and very little has been said to small medium enterprises that an accountant in public practice can perform a very important role for them, which has really got nothing to do with taxation, and that's acting as the chief financial officer of a small medium enterprise. We believe that every business, whether it's BHP or a fairly small business, does require the services of someone with the skills of a chief financial officer on an ongoing basis. Now, the actual time requirement for a small business may only be an hour or so a week in some businesses. In other businesses, it could add up to a day a week. Whatever the time requirements, SMEs are looking for those services, and we believe that the material that's contained within ESS BIZTOOLS will assist accountants to deliver. We also have a leadership section whereby we have 9 modules on leadership that have been prepared for us by Leadership Academy. We have seminars. There's 35 seminars pre-prepared, ready to be used as seminars or webinars. There are 480 papers that a subscriber can badge and either give or sell to their clients. There are 50 papers that are targeted at accountancy businesses that you would never give to your clients because they're meant to be discussions on contemporary issues facing the accountancy profession in 2013. We also have another product called ESS BIZGrants that facilitates the identification of government grants for small medium enterprises. It is part of the ESS BIZTOOLS Gold subscription, or it can be subscribed to separately if you wish. And we're going to have a look at the ESS BIZTOOLS websites. So what's in this whole package of services? Well, we've got papers PowerPoint slides, forms, there are YouTube recordings to assist. So when you first go onto the ESS BIZTOOLS website, it probably appears that there's a fair bit of information. In fact, there's a lot of information to assist accountants. And the products comprise business advisory services, which we'll look at in more detail in a moment, the newsletter, which we call Business Plus, the client mentoring and coaching, leadership, BIZGrants. We have the papers, client seminars, there's thousands of forms, and there's about 30 video tutorials on the website to assist accountants in identifying work that can be performed for their clients that in many cases you might not be currently performing. So the introduction to business advisory services, there are 9 modules. Our view is that if you don't get the foundations right, you won't successfully launch business advisory services. There is some hard yards to be put in preparing to offer business advisory services, and we'll take you through those modules shortly. Within the business advisory tools themselves, there are 13 modules that are currently available to subscribers, everything from business health check through to chief financial officer services, cash flow management, business planning, buying a business, selling a business, succession planning. So within the business advisory services, there are forms, templates, questionnaires, manuals, quotation forms, proposal letters for each of the 13 different modules, and timetable forms. During the next 12 months, we will be producing 4 additional business advisory services modules. These will be risk management, investment readiness, so that the client is prepared and ready for making submissions to business angels to raise money, or to banks to raise substantial loans, family businesses, and capital raising. So they're the new areas that we are going to develop material for. Now there's already papers within the ESS BIZTOOLS system on those subjects, but we'll be developing them into separate modules ready for use by accountants in offering the wider range of services. The Business Plus newsletter is a monthly newsletter every month bar January, but in May we produce 2 extra editions, one on the federal budget as it affects small business. There wasn't much in that this year. We normally have 6 to 7 pages on that, but we only ended up with 3 pages this year. And the other one's on a end of year tax planning checklist. Every other month the newsletter is produced. It is uploaded to the ESS BIZTOOLS website at 12 noon on the second Friday of a month, and all of our subscribers receive an email notification that the newsletter is available for them to then access and prepare for dispatching to their own clients. You can add material to the Business Plus newsletter if you wish. You can edit the material. We also have a unique reference indicator whereby we advise our subscribers of papers that are within ESS BIZTOOLS, or articles that are within ESS BIZTOOLS, that might give you a better all-round knowledge of a subject that's been discussed within the newsletter. And the purpose of this is if you start getting phone calls from clients about a government grant that may have been mentioned, that we have given you some advance warning of that by referring to this reference material and suggesting that you read it prior to starting to talk to clients about what's in the newsletter. Client mentoring and coaching is really an educational area for clients. You know, some commentators are saying that accountants should be charging their clients $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, even if the current fee is only $3,000 for the preparation of an annual set of accounts and tax return. We don't agree with those comments in full, because we believe there's been a very important step omitted, and that is the client needs to be educated and informed of the type of services that your accounting firm is able to supply to them. I don't believe any small medium enterprise is going to agree to substantially increase the amount of fees that they're paying for accountancy services unless they understand what those services are and how they can be utilised to improve their business performance. Clients are looking for value adding in their business operations, and we believe that the client mentoring and coaching material will assist you in delivering that. There's 13 modules that have been pre-prepared. Actually, this series on client mentoring and coaching come about from a request from one of our subscribers in Perth, who rang up one afternoon and said he had a very important business person who he'd been trying to attract as a client for the previous 3 years, coming to see him that afternoon, and he wanted to impress him by making available to him some papers so that he could differentiate himself in the marketplace. I gave him half a dozen papers, and he said, well, that's all right, thank you very much. Why don't you put that into a system so that I don't have to ring you next time I get a prospect coming in to see me. So that's where this come about, and we have the material targeted at different requirements that your client might be seeking. Leadership, there are 9 modules that have been pre-prepared. They've been written by Peter McDougall, former Colonel in the Australian Army, now the Managing Director of Leadership Academy, for accountants to deliver, first of all, to your own teams to try to improve leadership strategies within your own accountancy business, but then to be able to offer leadership strategies to your clients. So leadership's a very important area, obviously, and hopefully this material will assist you in delivering those services. We have 35 client seminars, webinars ready to be used. They're all in their own separate modules, so there's no chance of turning up to run a seminar and having the wrong PowerPoint slides or having the wrong papers to hand out. And each module contains the organisational material unique for that particular seminar or webinar. I already mentioned there's 480 papers that are targeted at small medium enterprises under 56 different section headings. So we've tried to cover the wide area of information that most small medium enterprise operators require some knowledge of, that these things exist. 50 papers for accountants, I've already mentioned those, and for each of these 530 papers there's a set of PowerPoint slides that are prepared and attached to them so that you can use them if you wish. ESS BIZGrants is a quick and easy solution to identifying suitable government grants for individual small medium enterprises. You know, identifying government grants is an ideal way to commence to offer business advisory services to clients. Indeed, many small medium enterprises are quite critical of the fact that they don't believe that they've been kept informed of government grants by their accountants. We've tried to write this material so that you don't have to become an expert, unless you want to, of course, in government grants. We're the experts. I've had a lot of experience with working as a consultant and a special business advisor within the government grant area, primarily for the COMT'd program, Commercialising Emerging Technology. And we've used that knowledge and contacts to develop that material. So what we will do in a moment is do a website tour. I do need, though, to inform you of your investment. We have a special discount at present of 33%, meaning that a gold subscription for 12 months to ESS BIZTOOLS which includes the subscription to ESS BIZGrants, can be obtained for $1,990 including GST. This offer expires on the 31st of August 2013, so we would welcome each of you as subscriber members of ESS BIZTOOls. All you need to do is to go to the website and log on. So I've now gone to the website, and I'm going to, this is the home page when you first go there. If you're interested in subscribing, you would click on pricing and sign up and process the application form there by clicking on. But where I want to show you though is some of the products. So you click on the products, and we'll go first of all to business advisory services. Within business advisory services, on the left-hand side on the grey background, we have the modules that are part of the introduction to business advisory services, and on the right-hand side, we've got, with the blue background, we have the product modules that we currently have in the system. Andrew Geddes, Director of Smith Inc. 2020, and in my opinion, the most experienced consultant to the accounting industry in Australia, has commented on a number of occasions that he believes it takes an accountancy business about 3 years to be properly prepared to be offering business advisory services as a major component of the services being offered by an accountancy business. We think that can be shortened to about 2 years, but it is a fair lead time. If you are going to be able to earn around 30 to 40% of your fees for your firm from offering business advisory services. And we really believe that's what the aim should be. If you haven't read the Deloitte report on digital disruption, I would recommend that you do so. Deloitte's are forecasting that businesses like accountancy businesses will lose 32% of current income over the next 3 years. In fact, their prediction is that this will be at its peak in 2.5 years' time. So, on the basis that it will take 2 to 3 years to be properly organised for the delivery of business advisory services, I really urge you to act now, whether you use our material or develop your own, but you really do need to act now. We believe if you start doing the sums on how long it's going to take to prepare the material yourselves, you will soon ascertain that our special discount price of $1,990 including GST for 12 months access is far cheaper than what it will cost you to sit down and start writing all of this type of material yourselves. If you go into Introduction to Business Advisory Services, we'll have a quick intro. You always receive in our material a précis of what's included. There are links to various other material. There is a summary of the key items that are within the paper, and we use an article or paper as the means of communicating what we believe the process should be on getting ready. And there are a number of forms that are used to enable the process to be undertaken. Now you can download into a Word document, or we can view in a PDF document. PDF documents are quicker to access. So here's the contents of this paper, which is Introduction to Business Advisory Services. And here are the forms that are part of this, which we'll have a look at in a bit more detail. So the paper goes through a commentary on what we believe is necessary for a firm to start this preparation process. We do have links to quite a number of other papers that we have written. These are part of the 50 papers that are targeted at small, medium enterprises. So you can read these items and hopefully determine that the recommendation that we're making as to how you might go about this is the way to go. So I'm going to go now to the forms, because it's the forms that really drive how this system works. So the first form I want to look at is our predictions on accountancy business evolution over the 3-year period from 2013. Now, we originally wrote this commentary in 2011. We have recently updated it to include comments on the Deloitte report on digital disruption, short fuse, big bang. We've also referred to the CCH survey on SMEs, the fine line between failure and success. If you haven't read both of those reports, we would recommend that you do so. Obviously, our subscribers can just click on and go straight to them. But both the Deloitte report and then the CCH survey are really identifying that change is upon us. It's not 10 years down the track, it's occurring now. And it's occurring in a very pardon me, in a very significant way. The Deloitte report is saying there's going to be a 32% disruption. What is that going to do to your firm? We believe it's going to present tremendous opportunities for accountants who wish to develop a wider range of services to help add value to their clients. And that's what I'm urging you to do. Again, whether you use our material or whether you write your own, but please take up the challenge and don't sit back and believe that this whole event is going to pass you by. It's happening already with the take-up of cloud technology by clients, with more and more work being outsourced overseas, with accountants in Asia starting to bid for work in Australia. We are part of a global marketplace, and nothing is going to stop that. So this particular paper or article is exploring our views at ESS BIZTOOLS as to what is going to happen to the accountancy industry in Australia and New Zealand, and for that matter probably every other developed country in the world that has an accountancy industry over the next 3 years. If when you read it you have a different opinion, I'd be very pleased to have a discussion with any of you. So we have a document which will help you to decide how you're going to introduce the business advisory services strategy. This is all part of the foundation work. If you're building a house, you put down firm foundations. Pardon me again. So there's forms here to assist in team member surveys. It's very important to get the views of your team members and partners, and not everyone's going to want to be involved in business advisory services. There is a fair bit of extra work that people are going to have to do to get themselves up to speed in some of these products. So why not ask them and then determine who's going to be involved yourself. We have a form which might assist you to identify your A-class clients, because our concept is that these services should be offered to your A-class clients. So some firms I know haven't identified their A-class clients. Hopefully this form will help you do so. So that's the sort of approach we have in the introduction area. It's full of templates and articles. If we just go back into that introductory area, you see some of the other subjects that are covered in this introduction process: team training, leadership strategies, marketing strategies. What products are you going to offer? Our recommendation is you only commence with about 3 to 4 products or services, and that you undertake a further 3 or 4 in 6 months' time. How you might use the SME needs analysis to identify the services that your clients require. A seminar to launch business advisory services. We suggest that you launch it to about 20 clients at a time, not a couple of hundred. Control it, smaller groups, so that if you do get a 20 or 30% acceptance from your initial pitch to clients that you're offering the services, that you're not going to be embarrassed because you haven't got the resources to deliver what the clients then require at that time. How you're going to professionally sell business advisory services. So that's the introduction to business advisory services. On the right-hand side, we just might look at debtors management. Now, this is one of the products. So again, we have an executive summary first of what's covered, and then we have a wide range of forms on everything relative to debtors. And if we go to the, I should have rewound that before, but if we go to the, doing another webinar late yesterday and we hadn't, I'll just get back to the beginning, sorry. So debtors management, we have the article or the instruction paper, which following a seminar, our recommendation is you arrange with a client to have a one-on-one meeting with the client to sit down with the needs analysis to help identify the services the client might require. Our recommendation is that that meeting, which we would think would last 1.5 to 2 hours, should be free. If you've selected your client right and you're using the SME needs analysis, I am fairly certain that you will identify some work to be done. So this one-on-one meeting is really a marketing meeting, marketing from your firm's point of view to identify to your client that you are now in a position to be able to deliver this wonderful range of services which will assist in adding value to their business. So what's included in the debtors management evaluation? There's a whole range of forms once again. We have a budget to help in preparing a proposal. So we'll move into that, and I'll just go back so I can work through the addenda. Where I want to start with, first of all, is that we have a review questionnaire. So there's a questionnaire to help in undertaking a review of the current debtors system. Debtors are currently 55 days outstanding according to Dun & Bradstreet. Debtors' normal terms in Australia are 30 days, so that we're nearly 90% higher than the expected trading terms. Why? In some respects, I think a lot of it's to do with it, with small businesses not having appropriate systems. So hopefully this questionnaire will help you identify deficiencies in your client's current debtors system. So we'll just quit that and just go back again so we can look at a couple of the other forms. There's a form that allows you to record that the system's been reviewed and implemented, so it's a work control form. It is linked to the various components. So we have here an application to open an account. How many of your clients are just giving credit to anyone that walks in and asks for it? If so, no wonder debtors days are outstanding at 55 days. And indeed, some of your clients will have debtors days outstanding substantially in excess of the average. Remember, the 55 days, according to Dun & Bradstreet, is only an average. So hopefully this form here would assist in putting in a proper process for your clients to get the details they require to make a proper evaluation as to whether credit should be granted to this new customer. So we have a sample of a personal director's guarantee. We have a welcome to new customer letter. Are all your clients sending a formal letter confirming the terms of trade and credit limits and any particular requirements that the new customer has requested? For example, they might want their invoices or statements forwarded to them by the 10th day of a month. And if you don't do so, well, your invoices won't get processed then until the following month. We have that letter in duplicate so that you can ask your client to sign it and send it back as being an acceptance of your conditions. The system has an internal advice of a new customer which you go to the sales department and to the office. We have some monitoring letters so that you can supply your client with letters like this to assist in the collection of their debtors. Now all this material has been supplied to you as a template. If you're a subscriber, of course, you can then decide which of it you're going to make available to the client. That's the purpose of the debtors review. You would go through and look at the client's system. If they have some deficiencies in some areas, you could say to them, well, we can make available to you a form or a procedure to cover that, and that's really what our material is all about. If they haven't got something, you can say, okay, we can make that available, and obviously you're going to charge a fee for all that. What I've gone to now is a form to assist in calculating a debtor's days outstanding. Do your clients know how to do that calculation? We also have a form to assist in the debtors reduction checklist. And the last area I want to show you in this component is the quotation form. We've pre-prepared a quotation form so you can work out a fee quotation. It is linked back to the various components, so you can see what the work might be involved. And you have then got to do the estimates. You know the client as to how long it's going to take you to do that work, what other specific work's got to be done. Enter your time charge out rates, then determine a fee. And we recommend that all of the business advisory services work is quoted in a written format, and that there is always a payment schedule that's supplied to the client so that clients get used to paying on a progressive basis. And within the debtors management, and indeed within each of the other business advisory services module, we then have a proposal template which you could utilize or amend to send to your clients. So that is the process for a review of what's contained within the business advisory services and how we go about. We have other products. We have a debtor systems manual, business health check. You can see them on the screen there now. They're the other products that are already prepared in a similar format to the one that I just showed you, so that you can utilize that material to perform a wider range of services for your clients. I've just gone, while I was talking there, I'm just setting up so we can have a look at a sample of our newsletter. And the one we're showing you is the July newsletter. The newsletters are prepared each month. We try to target items of interest or items we believe should be of interest to small, medium enterprise operators. The newsletters are not full of taxation material. Many SMEs complain to us that some of the newsletters they receive from accountants have got too much taxation information in them. And they believe that's your area of expertise. So we've tried to limit the amount of taxation articles that we include. Probably never more than 2 in a month, and some months there's nothing. And it's only commentary on a taxation article that directly relates to a small, medium enterprise operator. If it's talking about sections of the Tax Act or information that obviously has to be interpreted by an accountant, well, we don't include it in the newsletter. So here's the newsletter for July. We're up to issue 93, so we've been preparing these for 7 years. We'd suggest that you remove the ESS logo, etc., and insert your own logo and name before sending this out. There's always an editorial article. Most of our articles finish with something similar to what we have there at present. If you would like our assistance with planning budgets or undertaking a review of your business, please do not hesitate to contact us. So there's a call for action. Leadership, team members, cash flow management, and making sure cash flow management has a total firm involvement. It's not just the office staff's worry. Culture, customer service should be continually reviewed. What's it mean? We've been writing a series for a couple of years on all sorts of jargon, both accounting and general business. So this one was on financial stress testing, so that your client's got a better idea of what some of these items mean. We've got a reminder in this month for government grants for Export Market Development Grant. Do you know your competitive edge? Not a nice subject, but what would happen if you did die suddenly? Has your business been properly planned relative to estate planning and wills? This is the section I talked about earlier about the reference library. They're the papers that we're saying that it might be a good idea to have a look at before you send the newsletter to clients, or a day or so after, before you start getting any phone calls, so that you're aware of some of the issues on some of these matters. You might get a phone call about any one of those items. We're suggesting you delete that Attention Accountants segment before you send it to your clients, and that you put your own message in there. It might be that you're running a seminar or a webinar. It might be that one of your clients has been recognised as an outstanding business in the communities that you live in or operate your business in. Or it might be that one of your team members has had a baby or passed an exam or something. It's your message. Delete the ESS BIZTOOLS at the end and put your own logo there. So that's a quick summary of how the newsletter section works within ESS BIZTOOLS. The next one I want to go to is client mentoring and coaching. Just if I can remind you, I think I said it earlier, if you have any questions, can you please type the questions in, and in webinar terminology, raise your hand, and I will answer the questions at the end of the webinar. Client mentoring and coaching. These are the 13 modules that have been prepared to assist. The ones marked yellow are available for a guest login to look at. So this one's on a introductory management, so it's for someone who started the business. When they started the business, they should have received the first installment. we divided them up into series because we believe if you sent all this to the client in one installment, they probably wouldn't read it all. So we've identified what we're covering in these. The first series is covering business systems. The next series is covering accounting reports. And then Series 3, working capital information. Series 4, budgets and cash flow forecasts. 5, introduction to business planning. And 6, introduction to taxation. Part 1 and 2. So that's looking at various aspects of taxation. We haven't got a lot of material on taxation within ESS BIZTOOLS, but obviously we have some. Now, how this works, and it's easy just to download one series at a time. So we're suggesting that this type of series would be sent to your client with a covering letter, which we're going to show you a letter for this in a moment, and that after about 5 days a customer service officer rings the client and inquires how they found the material and basically asks, would you like now to have a discussion with an accountant? Because unashamedly we want you to, or our recommendation to you is you're using this educational material as a means of securing appointments to undertake additional work with your client. So here's a suggested letter which would go with this series. You place it on your letterhead. It's telling the client why they're receiving this material. There is a survey form in each series, so you'd badge this and show your firm name on the top and ask the client to give you an indication as to how helpful this material is. If you get too many answering with number 5, so it's least helpful, we'd really appreciate an email from you telling us that, because that might mean, or would mean, we would have to review our material. But what you're trying to ascertain from all this is any comments from the client. Do they want to know more about a flow chart or a system for their business? Or are they interested in some of the items contained within characteristics of a well-run business? So do they want to talk to you? And we believe that this is the way to break the ice, to get the client really accepting that your firm is able to offer a wider range of services. Indeed, at the Smith Inc. 2020 conference at Surface Paradise in February, one of the speakers was a very experienced accountant, and let's call him John. He indicated that he was reviewing a profit and loss account for a client that he'd had for 15 years, and he noticed $26,000 for business advice. And he rang the client and said, can you tell me what this $26,000 for business advice was? And the client was very chirpy and said, yes, I hired a business coach and the guy's done a great job for me. And the accountant, John, said, do you realise that we could have supplied those services to you? Well, John told us that the phone went dead for about 30 seconds. And then the client said, well, John, I've been your client for 15 years. You've done a very good job on preparing an annual set of accounts and an income tax return, looked after our super fund, and always done our lodgements with ASIC. And I've received numerous newsletters from you, but at no time have you promoted to me that your firm was able to offer the type of services that I've been able to obtain from a business coach. If I'd known you could have done that, I would have talked to you about it. The accountant, John, then said he now realised that he had not been marketing or promoting his services to his clients on a wider basis. Quite honestly, I believe that that's a challenge that the vast majority of accounting firms in Australia and New Zealand currently have. You might believe that you can offer these services, but does your client know? Part of the client knowing and accepting that your firm can do this, we believe, is utilising a product like mentoring and coaching to educate the client on those type of services that your firm is confident to be offering to your client. Within this material, we also then have the papers. If you click on the name of a paper, here's a paper, you'd badge that with your name, and it's a very simple paper. This would say to your client, what's the flow of the business? Who's doing what? Who does the stock handling? Who opens the doors? Who's got the keys? Who gets contacted if there's a burglary overnight? Who gets contacted if you're away on holidays as the owner of the business? And so it goes on. And there's a set of PowerPoint slides for every paper. Now, PowerPoint slides is up to you whether you send these to the clients, but the reason we've included it is some of our subscribers wanted them because they wanted to be able to run little workshops for their client on some of these matters, and this helps. So that's the way the business system works for mentoring and coaching. Next week you would send the next series and so on. And you need to be very proactive in this material, contacting your client, having a discussion, and using it as the necessity to have a conversation to ascertain from the client which of these new services they'd like you to provide. We have client seminars. They're all prepared, ready for use. There's 35 of them. The number of sessions and hours are in brackets, so some of these are quite long, 15 hours. Some firms run them in special training exercises. In practice, we've found that the 1 hour seminars, which are the ones numbered 1,000 onwards, are the most popular. And if you wanted to download a seminar, each of these seminars is in its own module. And the module contains the organizational material, the papers, and the PowerPoint slides for the material to be discussed at that seminar or webinar. So there's no chance of having the wrong material. That can be very embarrassing. So we have some generic material that's included in each of the packages, so it's there. Some general hints on how you go about presenting a seminar. There's some other general things there, multiple seminar registration forms. Venue booking, especially if you're using an external facility. But don't forget to book your own boardroom. I've had situations where I've turned up to do a seminar presentation and found the boardroom's been double booked. That can cause a bit of embarrassment. Then we've got material just for this seminar. So here's a suggested news release that you might send around. Now I know that you're not going to get the Australian or the Sydney Morning Herald or the Age or the Courier Mail to run these type of news releases, but there are plenty of free newspapers in all the capital cities, and in regional and country areas there is a very vibrant media industry that are always looking for stories, and they seem to like stories that are targeted at small business because there's a lot of small business operators, and the media is wanting them to be buying and reading their newspapers. So we have that, and then we have the paper itself. So this one was, we had two papers that were going to be offered here. This one's characteristics of a well-run business. So everything is there. There's no chance of having the wrong material, and we have the PowerPoint slides on the characteristics of a well-run business, and it's all there. So they're there, ready for use, to be utilised by your business. we'll just go to the papers themselves. They're in 56 different sections through to section 270. Then there's, in the 500 series, there are papers just targeted accountants. So if you wanted to see what's within a section, you click on it and you will then see the names of the papers. So we have this one, creating business advisory services for clients. There's a preamble, and you can download this, and it's a introductory type article on how you should go about, or why you would go about creating business advisory services. This paper gets updated every year because obviously it's going to be a different message next year. It's going to be 2014 already. There's going to be a whole different economic landscape. I hope it's going to improve on this current year, but we shall see. If you want to have a look at a paper within an area targeted at the SME clients, we go back to the main index. We want to have a look at operating a successful business. There are items in there. So if we want to have a look at break-even calculation, so if you've got a client in your office who you believe could benefit from understanding what break-even's all about, here's a fairly simple paper that explains to the client how a break-even is calculated, that you could send to the client. You'd badge it and send to the client. If you want to, you can charge for these papers. That's up to you. We really want you to use the system so you definitely recover our subscription in extra fees and hopefully generate substantially more in fees. So going back to where we looked at very early in the piece on the PowerPoint slides, that is an overview, a cook's tour if you like, of ESS BIZTOOLS, to look at the various components. It is very difficult to go through and do all this in a presentation such as this. So thank you very much for having participated in this webinar today. If you have any questions, please email them through to us. Have a great day. Goodbye.